Stand beside her and guide her through the night with light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the ocean, white wood foam. God bless America, oh, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home. Great song. Hey, listen, I want to talk to you about this situation, the Supreme Court, and this shellacking that happened recently. And let's see if we could find a way to talk about this today on the So Walter Jones Show. This is my pandemic report for this week. Hello, everybody. So Walter, the So Walter Jones Show. I'm here. It is the evening edition. Baby. How y'all with us? Come on in. Water's fine. Water's fine. Water's fine. Water's fine. Good to see you, Bajoria and Oliver and Ivy and James and Cartel and Liddell. Huh? You came out of the dungeon? Where you been? Akins and the Lula B and Keys and Linder, Ruby Jones and Sakina Milam and Beatrice Cartel. All right. Now, many of y'all are here, and thank you for coming. And many of you are coming in slowly, but surely you'll be here. Every week on the Sunday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, I give what's called a pandemic report. What is that? Well, it's the highlights of the week in a pandemic. It could be any subject. I pick them. Usually I try to pick the one that everybody's been talking about for the whole week. All right. And then I'll sidetrack and go somewhere else, depending on if I think that the topic is overkill, you're killing a dead horse. All right. Today I'm going to focus on the Supreme Court's decision to not listen to or take it serious this lawsuit that the Texas filed on behalf of their stupidity. Yes. Okay. Where do I begin with this? All right. The United States, since the time we were trying to vote in a president in 2016, there was a campaign by Donald Trump. He says that he wanted to make America great again. Okay. Great again when? When was America great? Was the rallying cry from African Americans and minorities all over the country. When was America great? Oh, you getting married next week? Congratulations, Liddell. Wow. See, ladies, I told y'all. And then the men's, they're out there. Keep me posted on that. Ooh, oh man, that's good stuff. Thank you, Bajoria. I vote for you. Okay. So he said, make America great again, Angel. And we're still trying to figure out what period is he talking about. Is he talking about the period before the Civil War, during slavery? Or was he talking about the period after the Civil War, after the Emancipation Proclamation, which brought us into the times of Jim Crow? There's two periods. Which period was America great? And this greatness was on behalf of who? Who did this greatness benefit? And I think it depends on who you are, which will determine whether this land was great. Because after World War II, many of the boys came home. Rosie the Riveter, she came home too and began to build her home. And they began to build these homes in suburbia America. And while they were getting these grants and these GI bills and these loans to white America, African Americans were living in, well, squalor and shanty towns and Skid Row, and they were redlining, and we weren't allowed to go to the same bank and get loans. You understand? So I'm trying to see, when was America great, and the racism and the suppression and oppression and xenophobia and discrimination, not just in housing, but I couldn't go down there and get a loan for business because that would mean I'm coming up, and so I didn't qualify for that. All right, and there was discrimination in everything that we did. Okay, uh, so I'm not sure making America great for what. Now, Donald J. Trump is not a smart man, but he's a cunning man. You understand? He served for 4 years, and during those 4 years, he took us through turmoil. Our heads are turning still today. We're still trying to get off of this ride at Disney World. All right, I rode a ride. Well, here in America, here in Chicago, there was an amusement park that was called Great America, Marriott Great America, before Six Flags bought it. And this thing did this: you lay up against the wall, and this tube, and it does this. Anybody know what that thing is called? Mm-hmm. Okay, it keeps doing this. All right, and and then what it would do this, and then it would do this. All right, and I felt myself dying on it. All right, so when I finally got off of that thing, I didn't realize how timid my body was, and I began to puke, vomit. I was dizzy. That's when I realized what vertigo really was. What an idiot I was. Okay, that's what we went through. Yes, the floor dropped. What was that thing called? Yeah, America was great for them when white people were totally in charge. The majority and blacks knew it. Yes, that's it, Craig Milam. It's good to see you, by the way. I was with Craig Milam Tuesday, and boy, I tell you, what a fellowship. What a fellowship. We're not part of this Constitution that was built after the war. Britain, we were slaves. Yes, that's right, Karen Bell. Exactly. All right, you were a 3/5 compromise. You were counted, but you were not counting as a whole person. All right, the Constitution is not a Christian document. It's actually a Calvinistic document, believe it or not. And many, they were trying to get it away from being a Christian document. There's morals in it until you get to the part where, well, what Karen just mentioned. Okay, so we have a problem here. He's talking about our ancestors on the field. Oh, and catching these lashes across. Oh, that time. Okay, yeah, and he proved that many of his rallies. He proved it. He says, if we were, who was that says, back in the day, we would do this to you, when a black man was at the rallies and picketed or whatever he did. When a white man says back in the day, we was doing this, yeah, what they're saying is, we wish we were back in those days where we could still do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Keith said, throw the whole government away. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. Thank you, Demetrius. It's turning into my favorite color too. Brown is, I don't know which one is favorite, blue or brown. I'm not sure. I'm gonna catch up to what my favorite color is. All right, now Donald Trump is not a smart man. He's a cunning man. While he was taking us through 4 years of turmoil, many of his cohorts, his minions, were doing all kind of inappropriate things. Okay, they were involved in scandals and misappropriations of funds. All right, some of the people he put in the office to drain the swamp, they were swamp monsters. Okay, there was one department who was spending thousands to furnish his office. buying a chair that was costing $20,000, and Trump bought a big old picture. All right, all kind of stuff. A picture of himself. Y'all remember the portrait of himself? You remember how much he paid for that? All right, just a whole lot of stuff was going on. Yeah, Sherry, I am tired. I took I did take a nap. That's probably what you see in my face. Okay. He knew that he needed help and strength for this year. Okay, he knew that, so what he did was hoping that he had the power, a tipping power, to get some Supreme Court justices in there. All right, so this is a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test for you people who know a little bit about what happened in 4 years of Trump. How many Supreme Court justices did he put in there, and what are their names? Good to see you from Oklahoma. Blessing to you, Margaret. Okay. Yes, Karen, grifter. You've been hearing the word grifter a lot. What are the names of the Supreme Court justices that Donald Trump put in? All right. Now, we know the Congress puts them in. They have to okay it. Okay. He makes the suggestion, and then they have to go through that whole thing. Who are they? All right. What were their names? Tell me. Now, and notice when he put them in there, especially this last one, all right? This last one, he put her in there because he and the Republican Party and the white evangelicals were counting on her more so than the other two that he put in. They were counting on her to tip some things to their favor. All right. Can y'all tell me what were the at least two things that they were counting on her to do for both the Republican Party and Donald Trump? All right, y'all know you're gonna come over here. I'm gonna test y'all to see if y'all been paying attention. Y'all keep saying we awake. Are you really awake? Well, waketh, thou uppeth. Good to see you, Marion. Blessings to you. Good to see you, Ned Harris. Blessing to you. Who else is here? Evildoers, thieves, blood suckers. Yeah. Come on, Keys. All right. All right. Can y'all tell me who were the three that Trump put in by the approval of Congress, mostly the Senate? All right. And what were the at least two things that they were banking on them fixing in the law? Okay. And Sherry says Neil Gorsuch. Yep. Brett Kavanaugh. Yes. And Amy Coney Barrett. Yes. Okay. Now, what were the things that they were banking on that especially Amy Coney Barrett would do for us, for them, that is? Can you tell me? Sally says help overturn Roe versus Wade. Yes, that's one. Okay, in abortion, find a favor of Trump on all things. Yes, yes. Abortion. Mike's starting to act a fool again. All right, overturn vote, Margaret. Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. That's a good one, Natasha. Redefine a pardoning the president. Yes. All right. So when the abortion debate, Amy haven't been in there that long. All right. So we really can't focus on that. All right. When the Republicans, especially white evangelicals, the Republicans don't really talk about abortion that much. I need you to know this. The Roe versus Wade argument is argued by white evangelicals more so than any party. All right. See, there's white evangelicals, then there's the Republicans. The Republican Party is busted. It's really a split, like Baptists. There's the Southern Baptists and there's missionary Baptists. There's full gospel Baptists. It's just all over the place. All right. All right. So Republicans there's the conservative, really right to the right conservative. There's a liberal conservative party, a Republican party that is right. There's the right evangelicals. The fight over the abortion debate is really not a Republican fight as much as it is a white evangelical fight, and many of them don't even know. They think they know why they're fighting it because they were born and raised in that fight, and it's just tradition, to fight against abortion. Abortion is wrong, but what they're doing is they're using it as a bargaining chip, okay, to get to find a way to destroy the Democratic Party and bring up the immoral word. Immorality comes up, and the strength of their immorality is the abortion debate on the Democratic side. But what do they ignore from the Republican side as it pertains to immorality? Can anybody put that in the comment section? The white evangelicals fight the Democrats over abortion. It is their largest rallying cry on immorality, maybe it's not even second to homosexuality. Abortion has always been the big fight. Homosexuality fight came later on. All right? They spend much of their time fighting that and ignoring the immorality in their party. And can y'all tell me what some of the immoralness of that side? Can y'all tell me? I just switch over to YouTube. Okay. Good evening, Triplet. This has nothing to do with your topic, but that blue. Thank you, Triplet. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Y'all know I always dress up for the pandemic report because the pandemic report is special to me. It's something that I created. It is like a banquet. It's a feast, and I take my time and do it right. So that's why I always dress up. So, sorry. God is watching says racism. Racism. Okay, you're back launching deep. I see you now. Okay. Lakeisha says greed. Good to see you, Andrea. All right. So greed, racism. Linda says civil rights. Amber says racism and the disenfranchisement of the poor. Yes. Yeah, you should see the socks. I got a serious sock game. Yeah. Okay. Most of them are switch hitters too. Yeah. That's it. Injustice outside of the room. Margaret, that is brilliant. There it is right there. So they're looking at the other side, okay? And they are looking at the abortion fight while they sit in their neighborhoods, in their homes, and in their circles, and in their churches, and ignore, especially these major pastors and evangelicals on that side, they ignore the poor and the fight, okay, and the those who are disenfranchised, okay, those who are being what's the word, profiled. African Americans who have been profiled by those in authority, especially the police, okay? They ignore that part. When someone gets shot by someone in authority, that part is ignored. It's your fault, all right? So they will put your abortion over, that immoralness of your abortion over everything that they do immorally. My dog's bigger than your dog. Abortion for the Republicans is just collateral damage and leverage. That's all it is. It's leverage. So you understand? So when you see these white evangelicals go after the abortion debate, that's all it is. It's leverage. And it puffs them up to a place of they are fighting for the cause of mankind. They are the most righteous when they bring up the abortion debate. If abortion was overturned, they would have to find something else to fight, and they will make that one number one. Well, what's standing now, of course, will be the homosexuality situation. Now, here's the thing: they've been fighting the abortion debate since the 1970s. They've had several Republican presidents, and a few times where the Senate was dominated by the Republican Party. And to this day, abortion is still legal. What does that say? Anybody? And they said that Donald Trump is the most anti-abortion president in American history. How many times did you hear Donald Trump speak against abortion? Huh? Anybody. And when the baby is born, the baby is ignored by them. Do you understand what I'm saying? They ignore hunger, health crisis, poor education, the homeless, global warming, all of that. Ignored. Ignored. Adultery. Yes. Stealing. Yes. Look at the president of Liberty University, Falwell Jr. Y'all see what happened to him? He represents many of those white evangelicals. This didn't just happen to him by, overnight. This has been in the fabric of many of them for generations. It says that you went away. Not their agenda. That's it. They are pro-birth, not pro-life, because they will execute the same kids they fought to. Yes, Reuben Goodwin. It's good to see you, by the way. Yes. Yep. Sheriff says, I never heard him utter one thing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Falwell fell down. Yeah. Yep. They didn't say anything about the kids in the cages. They said, Obama built the cages. Well, who filled them? Who separated the kids? And many families still are separated. It's sad. So let's look at this. I want to spend that time as a setup to what happened this week with the Supreme Court. Okay? I'll take y'all through some history. You've been hearing a phrase called amicus brief and amicus curiae. All right, these are some legal terms in this as it pertains to the Supreme Court. Now, what you need to know is that we have a great system in the United States. No matter what you think about the country, this is the best system that we have, and it's been working for several hundred years. Comerical, I believe it's called. All right, I'll get the word right. All right, as it pertains to the three branches of the government, they are equal, co-equal. That's what the word is derivative of. The executive, legislative, judicial. It's the best way of checks and balances. One is not over the other. In 2006, we realized that one man tried to take the executive branch above the other two branches and make it more of an authoritarian branch. Out of his mouth, he says, I can do anything I want to. The president have the power to do whatever he want to. He is unstoppable. And y'all went to the polls in the midterm election and put in some liberals in the House of Representatives, and they proved to him that you can't do whatever you want to do. And they impeached him. Now, it is the Senate job to come together to remove him. But they didn't, because the Republicans were tipped the Senate. But it didn't matter. He will forever be the president who got impeached. And impeachment pretty much is the rebuke. Okay? and it's on your name. It's stamped on your forehead like Cain. God didn't kill Cain for killing his brother, but God rebuked him and put a mark on his forehead. Do you understand? Donald Trump put the House of Representatives put a mark on his forehead, and your grandchildren, 100 years from now, will read in the history books that there were only a couple of presidents who were impeached, and Donald Trump's name is in that book. Do you understand? And that bothered him. It peed him off. He sounded like he was shaking it, trying, see, they got nothing on me. But a few times it was a heaviness to his heart. One newscast, he's like, man, I've been impeached. And you could see it in his disgust. That's going to be with him forever. It's like a criminal record that doesn't go away. Do you understand? And you can't remove that. You can't remove that, meaning you can't expunge that from a president's record. You can't undo it. Do you understand what I'm saying? It will be forever. No one could expunge Bill Clinton's impeachment status. You just can't. You understand? All right? Expunge. Can't do it. So that will be with him forever. So what happened? We went to the polls and we began to elect the president of the United States. And Biden won the popular vote. At that time, it was 74 million people to his 70 million. He still got half of America. All right? So Donald Trump is still the second president in history who got he got the second largest, that is, votes in a popular vote. On that Saturday, the Electoral College votes came in favor of Biden, and from that moment on, Trump went on a rampage and his cohorts to try and get this thing fixed by issuing many lawsuits. I don't know, the number is 56 by now, I think, okay? Many lawsuits, many fake and many frivolous lawsuits, and many tales of his fake lawyers coming forth and saying that this happened, and then they bring in crazy mixed up Karens into the courts and saying, I saw them, a white van pull up with a whole bunch of ballots that came from Russia and all kind of crazy stuff, all right? He's fighting for his life because he's afraid of what's on the outside of the Oval Office. Number two, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And these people are tethered to Donald Trump. You see, what happened was they created this monster, okay? They created this monster, and then this monster took over them, not just individually, but took over the whole party. All right. There was a man in the Bible, the king. Who was it? Not the king. Who was it? Wanted to kill. He killed one of the disciples, one of the followers of Jesus, and then the Bible says it pleased the people that he did that, so he went after James, Peter. I think he killed James and he went after Peter, all right, to kill him because it pleased the people. This is what we're seeing here. The pleasing of the people that he considers detestable. Donald Trump he hates those people. Thank you, Herod. All right, thank you, Reuben. Okay, Herod Agrippa. And it pleased the people. So he went after another guy. That's what's happening here. All right? There is a very shocking movie short that came out called Something Strange at the Johnson's House. I don't know if any of you seen that one before. All right? I'm on my YouTube channel, And let me see if I could scroll down and find it. Came out a few years ago. Okay. And what is it? It is a story of a young man, a black family. Yeah, the strange thing about the Johnsons. Anybody seen that? Let me show you my screen. Yeah, you saw it, Carolyn? The son and the father had a situation? Yes. That's the best way I hear. All right? You can go on YouTube and watch the full movie. Okay? The strange thing about the Johnsons. Okay? This is the father. And the son had this thing for his father. And the father could have done something about it early, but he didn't. He took light of it, and as the son got older, we see a really rough thing happened in that family. All right? If you got a stomach, go and watch it tonight and report back to me tomorrow. 'Cause yeah, it's something. You saw it? Had no clue what I felt. Yeah. Yeah, it's a mess. Okay. So then let's go to this document here. Yeah, you can't watch it, Margaret? Yeah, you're too sweet to watch that. Don't watch it. Okay. It was devastating to watch. Yeah, the ending. It was a mess. Here's the document. You can find the document online. This is the filing. The Supreme Court, United States, Texas plaintiff versus Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. All right. Others were added to the document. Motion for leave to file brief amicus curiae. All right. And brief amicus curiae of U.S. Representative Mike Johnson, 125 other members of the U.S. House of Representatives. All right, and here are their names. It's a whole bunch of them here. Okay, and you can watch it, Shan Ruff, on YouTube. Just type that name in there. Okay, and be sitting down when you watch it. Okay, because that's the best way I can explain what's happening with the Republican Party and the man in whom they build. They built this beast, and they begin to worship the beast. You understand? And then the beast turns on them. And so all these men and women in office who were rallying for him is doing it because of fear. Fear. Do you understand? All of this is mental. Oh, you just got here, Shan Ruff. Y'all, what did I say the name of that was? The strange thing, a strange thing happening at the Johnsons. Is that what I called it, y'all? I just got rid of the YouTube tab. All right. Yeah, just type that in. A strange thing happening at the Johnsons or something like that, and you'll see a picture of a black man in a bathtub. Okay. The whole movie's there. All right. Yes, Frankenstein always kills his master. Ooh-wee. That's tough right there. All right. An amicus curiae literally means friend of the court. Now, I'm bringing this up for a reason, because I'm going to show y'all who's the friend of the court. It's someone who is not a party to a case, who assists a court by offering information. All right? Expertise or insight that has a bearing on the issues in this case. The decision on whether to consider an amicus brief lies within the discretion of the court. All right, so the phrase amicus curiae it's legal. It's a Latin term. All right, Amber is putting the YouTube link there. Yeah, a situation at the Johnson's house. Thank you, Grady. I think. Oh no, Amber got it. There's something strange about the Johnsons. Hmm. Yeah, the actress. I would wish to unwatch it as well. Uh huh. I'm glad I watched it because then I saw it yesterday, not the movie. I saw how the Republicans have taken on to Donald Trump, and my mind went back just like that to that movie. Because I can only stomach it one time. I watched it once and I said, I can't unwatch this. I feel sorry for him in that he was led to believe that what he had, yeah, this is the result of toxic affirmation. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, let's. I'm going to read to you from the slate what happened. The Supreme Court shoots down Texas radical attempts to overturn the election. All right. On Friday evening, the Supreme Court shot down an attempt by Texas to overturn an outcome of the 2020 election. This is very important here for you to understand because many people hit me and like, I don't understand what's going on with this lawsuit. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, all right, his name is very important in this whole thing. All right, very important. Asked the justices to nullify every vote cast in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Why those 4 states? Can somebody tell me why? Why is the Attorney General of Texas asking the justices to nullify every vote in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin? Can somebody tell me why those 4 states? All right. Then direct the legislators to each state to appoint their electors to Donald Trump. It was the boldest, most dumbest, but yet most boldest thing any official could ever ask for, almost in American history. The Republican Attorney General of 17 states, as well as 126 Republican members of Congress, supported it. Can y'all, wait a minute. These are people y'all put in office. Y'all put these professional, intellectual, college educational, okay, y'all put them in office. Not once, not twice. Some of these people have been in Congress for a long time, and they back this. In a brief order, however, the Supreme Court ruled that Texas lacks standing to meddle in another state's election process, curtly killing the case. Now, who's responsible for killing the case in the Supreme Court? Karen says, speaking to his Klan leaders, putting them on front. Can y'all see this? So Paxton's case was frivolous from the start and looked more like a plea for a pardon from Trump than a real legal filing. Paxton is in trouble. And maybe you didn't know that. He is reportedly under investigation by the FBI for bribery and abuse of office. The Attorney General promoted claims of widespread voter fraud that have been definitely debunked, asserting that this non-existing corruption rendered the election illegitimate. To vindicate the Constitution, Paxton declared the court had to throw out the results in 4 states that voted for President-elect Joe Biden and award each state electors to Trump. Here's the stupidity of this. Many of those people in Congress who put their names on this frivolous lawsuit, their names are on the ballots as well, in which they want tossed out. Can anybody help me with that? And y'all say, I think the older the United States get, the dumber we get. There is literally no legal basis for any aspect of this argument, which would represent a stunning intrusion of the authority of each state to conduct its own elections, as well as shocking violations of the voting right of millions of Americans. They went against the rule of law and fair and free elections of the United States, in which we've been holding for generations. Generations. And your intellectual, ain't that something, y'all? I never thought I'd see today. That's it, Sherilyn. She says that's what hate does. It makes you cut your own nose off. It's mind-boggling. Because those state governor officials, include mine, are still heck bent on kissing Trump's rump. Getting left. It's just the way you said that. Yeah, their minds are blinded where they can't see. Yeah, it's amazing to stoop that low. Do you know what this is going to do with their careers? Nothing. Did y'all hear what I said? What is it going to do to their careers? Nothing. But Georgia better watch out. Okay? Georgia better watch out, because if you Georgians who are watching this go to those polls, I think y'all early vote tomorrow, and it turns over into your favor, every Republican Georgian person sitting in that seat will be nervous, because they're going to see the power of minorities in that state. They are afraid. The problem with Paxton is that he is under investigation himself. Yeah, I just read that. Jefferson wrote of this in On Manners. He saw the vision of the evil he promoted, and it is here, a nation ruled by petty tyrants. Ooh, Dan Matthews, good to see you. Oh, Georgia. Georgia is in trouble. Paxton asked for nothing less than mass vote nullification on a scale unprecedented in American history on the basis of provable falsehoods. Come on, Maurice Gregory. There it is. They will keep voting for them just like they keep following false prophets. That's why I say nothing. Thank you, Nicholas. Good to see you, man. You came over here to visit me, man. Wow, I'm honored. I'm honored. All right. I see some of your naysayers, but you can't get on the Jumbotron. Not today. Because y'all all over the place. A couple of you, I see ya. I ain't even call your names. But in your name, your name is telling me who you are. Stay focused. If you stay focused, you might get a visitation on the Jumbotron. But I see you. Darkness covered the earth, gross darkness. Ooh, washed it, man. That cut right there. Okay? Now, yet a sizable majority of Republicans in the House of Representatives, as well as among Republican Attorney General, still demanding this radical anti-democratic remedy. Thankfully, the Supreme Court swiftly shut down the nonsense. They shut it down. The court's order explained that Texas, here's what the court order explained. Texas has not demonstrated a judicially cognizable interest in the manner in which another state conducts its election. In other words, Paxton failed to explain how other states' elections injured Texas. Thus, Texas has no standing to bring a suit. Case dismissed. Did not Trump put in 3? Did not Nebuchadnezzar put in 3 Hebrew boys? The 4th one looks like a son of God. They say, did not we put in 3? Yes, Harvest, this is treason. We've been seeing treason happen for 4 years. But because we've been so discombobulated, it's happening it's happening so much till it is becoming the norm, so it weakens the stain of treason by what Trump has been doing for 4 years. Do y'all understand? Friday's decision was not technically unanimous because of the idiosyncratic view adopted by the justices. Now, who are the justices? Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas. Y'all know those 2 guys, all right? Amber says the SCOTUS says, shut up and worry about your own state. Sweep around your own front door before you try and sweep around Texas, all right? Alito and Thomas, both justices, believe the court. Now, this is the only reason why they took it up, because thousands of cases are filed to go to the Supreme Court, but they only take a few hundred. I think I can't remember how many they take. All right, a writ of certiorari, all this legal talk. Okay, I only went as far as pre-law. I didn't go post-law. Okay, and they had to take the case. Why? Because of the states. Both justices believe the court is required to take up any lawsuits between 2 or more states and cannot simply deny the filing in such case. So what's happening here is clever stupidity. All right, it's an oxymoronic statement. Clever stupidity. Remember I said Donald Trump is not smart, but he's cunning? His fake lawyers came together, and all these people says, you know what? We can't get a case into the Supreme Court. We can't in a typical way. So let's use a state. They got to hear it, because let's use a state and let's sue another state, okay, in a sense, so that we could at least get our feet in the door of the Supreme Court. It was brilliant stupidity. You understand? So Alito joined Thomas, wrote a brief statement explaining his position. He hastened to add that while he felt obligated to permit Texas filing, he would not grant other relief. And I expressed no view on any other issue. It says we ain't even talking about it. That means neither Alito nor Thomas would have granted Paxton's request to overturn the election. So they would have sat there and wasted your tax money listening to a frivolous lawsuit and still threw it out. Good to see you, Chatwin Rogers. Blessings to you, cousin. Still, the fact that so many powerful Republican politicians endorsed Paxton's Hail Mary is a profoundly disturbing sign for American democracy. These are your electors. Y'all put them in office. It wasn't 5 of them. It wasn't 10. It wasn't 15. It wasn't 20. It wasn't 70. It wasn't 80. Y'all know how many of them signed this stupid document? You asked a great question, Crawford. Can they give the 302 electors to Trump tomorrow? There will be no defectors come tomorrow. It's not happening. Couple of reasons. Number one, they've thrown out all of the lawsuits. Number one. Number two, a couple of days ago, they had what was called the Safe Harbor Day. Anybody heard of that? Safe Harbor Day was put in place 100 years or so ago, okay, as a way of holding your place for January. When do the Congress verify the electors? Congress. Okay, there's a pecking order. You go to vote. You don't really vote for the president. You vote for your representative, the electoral college. They see your vote, okay, and then they decide tomorrow to vote vote for the man in whom you voted for. Prior to that, though, each state have to solidify the votes. You understand? And each state was doing that during the week of the election, and weeks after that, they were, what's the word? It's not solidified. Y'all know what I'm saying, okay? It's final. And once it's final, that's it. So the lawsuits came, they had to reopen the books and do a recount. And when they did a recount, Biden got even more votes above Trump. They're like, okay, let's stop counting. All right, no more recount. All right, so that happens. So tomorrow, and then after each state solidified or certified, thank you, Linda. Linda came in first. Hey, spiritual driver. After each state certify the votes, then the Harbor Day, Safe Harbor Day comes on the scene, which protects you for January the 6th. It's a ticket and you hold it. All right, I'm getting ready to fly to Atlanta, Georgia, and the first week of January. I already got my ticket, and that ticket certifies me that I'm gonna get on that plane. Now, if they cancel that plane, the Southwest is gonna put me on another plane, but I paid for it, and I'm getting on that plane. They can't deny me. I'm getting on it. Safe Harbor Day settles the score so that when January 6th comes, Congress can't say, wait now, let's talk about this. No, we can't talk about this. We have, we already bought the ticket. You get it? Y'all with me? Tomorrow, the Electoral College officially vote on your behalf. So all of the work you did November the 3rd now comes into play tomorrow officially. You understand? And Biden will get all of his votes. If you have a faithless elector, which is rare, but it has happened, then we got a bigger problem. That's almost a death notice. Okay? That's a death notice. Blessings to you, Baldwin. Thank you so much. Thank you, spiritual driver. I see you. Blessings to you. Okay? That's like a death notice to be a faithless elector. Right now it is. All right, so after tomorrow, I'm sorry to say, all these people who's coming on my wall and saying, yeah, he still got a chance, he still got a chance. Okay, listen. His time was up November 3rd, but he did have some fighting. He had some fight in him, but there was never a chance. Karen Bell, thank you. Blessings to you for the super chat. It's a done deal. Will be the 46th president of these. I like that, Sherry. Sherry, boy, you need to stop. Alex Jones all but threatened Joe Biden by saying he will not go into the White House. He should be sorry. Yeah, that Alex Jones, they banned him from YouTube. They banned him from Facebook. So he's somewhere having to find a way to, I don't know, find a way to do something. Woo, spiritual driver, you blessing me today. I don't know how to act. Is it the suit? Good to see it, Kim Alt. People here are still wearing Trump's hats. Oh, yeah, well, you live in South Dakota. Of course. Of course they are. And South Dakota got hit real bad with COVID-19. and they were the ones who were denying it. I lived in South. Kim Alt was a member of my church down there. She was in my choir, right? And they in the middle of COVID, they decided to have the Sturgis bike rally. 2 weeks later, folk was dropping dead. I love you, Kim. So good to see you, by the way. Thanks for visiting me. It was a right-out threat. Yeah. And the spiritual driver said, nope. Appreciate your program. Yeah, I love you, girl. All right. Now, yes, your governor needs Jesus real bad. Still the fact that so many powerful Republicans, okay, I got all that. Now, the cynical effort to wrest victory from Biden, who beat Trump in Electoral College 306 to 232, trounced him by more than 7 million votes and earned more votes than any candidate in history, 81 million. Spells trouble ahead for a constitution that presumes lawmakers will act in something approximating good faith. Now, if the Supreme Court had ruled on behalf of Donald Trump, that would have been the most dangerous thing that the Supreme Court could have ever done. Now, the Supreme Court has had some really bad rulings. Okay? Can y'all think of at least one bad ruling from the Supreme Court in American history? Can y'all think of at least one really bad ruling from the Supreme Court that pretty much shook us? Anybody? Can you put that? Kim Alt says Roe versus Wade. Yeah. That would be pretty bad. Linda Ivor says Voter Rights Act. Okay. All right. I'm talking about Supreme Court rulings that shredded the Constitution. Anybody? Taking prayer out of school. All right. Was that a Supreme Court ruling? Well, yeah. Man, you know what? And I did this show. Now, if you're an African American, you should know at least one. If you're an African American, it was a landslide when those exact same numbers were attributed to him and Clinton. He boisterously declared it was a landslide. Yes, exactly. Same-sex marriage is one. 2015 was that? Thank you, Keys. I was looking for this one. Dred Scott decision. If you're an African American, that should have been the first one on your lips. All right? It was pretty bad. There's about 3 others I could think of, but there's several others that went against the Constitution itself. Can y'all tell me what is the job of the Supreme Court justice? What is their job? Out of the 3 branches of the government, what is the job of the Supreme Court? Deanne Mancher says the Constitution does not assume as much good faith as it does that Virginian gentlemen will run the country. Yeah, but the youngest son of George Washington, 1861. Yeah. Tasha says the Patriot Act. All right, tell me why is that so negative? Spiritual Java says uphold the law. Uphold the law? Kim says to enforce the law? Nope. That would be executive. Yeah. To ensure justice is served? Okay. kind of, yeah. The Lula B. There it is. Interpret. They don't do nothing but speak a ruling. All right? The best way to explain the Supreme Court, okay, is when you go to mom. Well, in my house, yeah, you go to mom. No, in my house, my daddy laid down the law. That was the law. You could not go outside after the street lights came on. You understand? I went to mama and said, Mom, can I go out and play for at least 10 minutes with my friend Barry? And my mama said, go ask your father. I'm like, but mama, ain't you my mom? Aren't you part ownership of this union called marriage? Isn't it not 50-50? Don't you have a say? It ain't 51 and 40. No, it's 50-50. So shouldn't you? My mom said, your father laid down a law in this house. Understand? So I cannot overturn this. Pretty much my mother was enforcing, or interpreting, that is. She was interpreting the law of my father. Can I go outside to play? Wait, let's check the law. Hear ye, hear ye. All boys of the Jones family on Albany Street are not allowed to go outside after the street lights come on. I'm sorry. We can't overturn that. She interpreted it. My daddy said you can't go out. Y'all understand? And it was upheld. Couldn't go out. Now go back to your father and talk about it. All right? And that's what the Supreme Court does. They look at the law and say, this is what the law says. They interpret what it says and they make a ruling. But sometimes what they do is say, we have come to a quagmire here. What we want to do is we don't want to rule on it right now. We want you to go back to the legislative branch and talk it over. Go back to your states and talk it over and come back. That's what my mother said. My mother said, go to your father and talk about that law. And if he decides, because the legislative branch are the ones who make the laws, not the judicial branch. Ain't nobody on that court, and all 9 of them have no right to write a law. You understand? It is a great check and balance that we have. We kind of borrowed it, but we still it's the best we have. It's supposed to be a faithful expositor of the Constitution in its interpretation, sort of like a good preacher with the Bible. That's good. And Donald Trump put in 3 people because he wanted them to go against the job in which he put them in, because he don't understand the rule of law. And the executive branch is about the law. They enforce the law. But how can you enforce something you know nothing of? This is why I keep telling y'all that you white evangelicals voted for a man who was not a politician. That is the dumbest thing you could do. Because the politicians let you down, you let a grifter come in. Because he was different than a politician. He's a non-politician. What person builds a corporation and there's a seat available for a CEO, and you go out there and say, get Pookie. Pookie fry up some mean cabbage. Pookie can, you want some chitlins? Pookie can fry up some chitlins, man, like none other. I got a great idea. Let's make him the CEO of this Fortune 500 company. He ain't got no experience. He know nothing about this corporation, but let's bring him in because I like the way he talk. That's what the American people did. You build a corporation called the United States and went outside and got a bigot and hired him for a CEO position and put him in the executive branch, the branch where the power of the police and the enforcement, all the enforcement departments are in that branch right there. When you put him there in that seat, that's what you did. That's how dumb that move was. Do you understand what I'm saying? Lisa said, that's what I've been saying since. Who does that? So I didn't vote for Biden, but Biden is more experienced. He's got seniority. Yes, come on, Crawford. That's it. That's not fair to Pookie. That's good. That's good. All right. That's like the hospital saying, let's hire this plumber to be CEO of medical affairs because he's not a doctor. Come on. That's exactly it. They went outside and got crackhead Pookie. Yeah. They claim Trump was elected because as a billionaire, he cannot be bought like regular politicians. And he got bought. Who bought him? Putin bought him. Who bought him? Kim Jong-il or father, son. They bought him. Who else bought him? China bought him too, even though he fights with him. They have a love-hate relationship. And those Arabs bought him as well. Y'all, they talked about Barack Obama being a secret Muslim? Please. Yeah. It's sad. Dictators. Aliens. All right? Now, let me give y'all some history. Okay? Because I'm not a professional historian, but I might be an amateur historian. All right? Trump was bought so many times, the corner prostitutes was jealous. Yeah, boy. And when he walk out of that office, you'll see how much he was bought. You may not see all of it, but you're going to see some of it. Yeah, you'll see some of his business, his crooked business dealings. You'll see it. Get ready, y'all. Folks still buying slaves like they don't know you can. Yeah, Obama's election was like a slap in the face, but they used Trump to make them feel better. All right. I see my trollers on here. It's funny. Oh man. And all these Trump supporters, they don't know what to do. They going crazy. They're saying the dumbest things. And they listen. If we, the people of God, had the faith and the hope that these Trump people have, man, we can win in every aspect of our lives. This is blind faith, these Trump supporters. This is, both eyes blind. Not just a cataract over here and a blind in part. They are completely blind. All right? And delusioned. And they're fighting like hell. If we had that kind of hope, none of us would be poor today. Not poor in spirit. It's amazing. Yeah. Carolyn Keys, you looking for the trolls? You can't find them? I'm on Periscope and I see few trolls. And I see a few trolls on YouTube as well. Oh, they're there. That's why they don't get the jumbotron. Amber said, nope, that delusion is idolatry. Yeah. Yep, that's how they're going to be tricked. That's it, Annie. The Antichrist, wherever he may not be born just yet, and if he is, he's like, this is going to taste so good. The reason why Donald Trump is a Republican is because he looked at that party and said, they are the dumbest people I know. They will believe anything. I'm paraphrasing. I'm surphrasing, okay? And he says, this is easy right here. And they bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. Bought it. And now they're selling their soul to the company store. To the point where they can't even see it. They're caught in a vortex, a delusional black hole, and they can't even smell their own farts. That's what COVID does. It clears your sinus. You can't. It clogs you. You can't smell nothing, taste nothing. They have spiritual COVID. These who are running after Trump's behind, and they are tethered to him. Some want to let go, but they can't because of fear. Others don't want to let go because he's feeding something inside of them that they've always wanted. Is this too much for some of you adults? Y'all need to leave the room? Yeah, he insulted them, talked about their wives and families, and they have sold out for him. Thank you, Rogers, for bringing that up. Let's bring up our dear brother, Ted Cruz. Remember him? Y'all remember Ted Cruz? Let's watch this.
You heard the other night at debate, they asked Ted Cruz, serious question, well, what do you think of waterboarding? Is it okay? And honestly, I thought he'd say absolutely, and he didn't. He said, well, it's, he's concerned about the answer because some people, she just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's a pussy. That's terrible. Terrible.
That's your president. He was talking about Cruz when he said that. Okay? Cruz responded. I'm telling you, this is the delusion that y'all live in right now. What did President Lyndon Johnson say? If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Yep, I remember that. He'll give him some. Said hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. It was profound. Okay, so Trump said this towards Cruz, and then he went and attacked Cruz's father, saying that he's responsible for JFK's death. And then he went after Ted Cruz's wife. And this happened.
You know, I have to say, seeing him go deeper and deeper to the gutter, it's not easy to tick me off. I don't get angry often. But you mess with my wife, you mess with my kids, that'll do it every time. Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone. Real men don't try to bully women. That's not an action of strength. That's an action of weakness. It's an action of fear. It's an action of a small and petty man who is intimidated by strong women. Heidi is my best friend in the whole world. She is the love of my life. And Donald should stick with attacking me because Heidi is...
All right. My man, protect your wife. Protect your father. And he went even further with this.
This morning, Donald Trump went on national television and attacked my father. Donald Trump alleges that my dad was involved in assassinating JFK. Now, let's be clear. This is nuts. This is not a reasonable position. This is just kooky. And while I'm at it, I guess I should go ahead and admit, yes, my dad killed JFK. He is secretly Elvis, and Jimmy Hoffa is buried in his backyard. I'm going to do something I haven't done for the entire campaign. For those of y'all who have traveled with me all across the country, I'm going to tell you what I really think of Donald Trump. This man is a pathological liar. He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth. And in a pattern that I think is straight out of a psychology textbook, his response is to accuse everybody else of lying. He accuses everybody on that debate stage of lying. And it's simply a mindless yell. Whatever he does, he accuses everyone else of doing. The man...
He's a pathological liar, psychologically inept, cognitive decline, all kind of words he was coming up with. And guess what happened? Anybody? Guess what happened? This document I just read to y'all and showed y'all from this Texas lawsuit, guess who decided that he was going to be the one who was going to fight and speak for this amicus brief, this amicus curiae? Guess who was going to be the amicus curiae after his family was attacked by a psychological freakazoid? Anybody. And not just Ted Cruz, who made a turn. Remember that other senator who made a turn and began to kiss up to Donald Trump's behind. Remember the other one? What's the other one name? Who was John McCain's best friend? Anybody remember? Anybody? Brown staying on his... Who was the other one? Thank you, Annie. Lindsey. Good old Lindsey Graham. Yep. This is what we're up against, y'all. And we've been going through this for 4 long years. Mitch McConnell is another one. But especially Graham. He was the worst. Delusion. This is a delusion of epic proportion. There is the history of America and its prowess, its economical power is based off of about 4 to 5 men. Cornelius Vanderbilt, Henry Ford, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Piedmont Morgan. Y'all bank at his bank. If you at Chase Bank, that's J.P. Morgan. Okay? These men built America. If it wasn't for them, I don't know if we would be the superpower that we are today. And America went to these men for financial assistance, like a stimulus package, especially J.P. Morgan. John Rockefeller, if you know anything about Standard Oil, right? He was an oil man, and he eventually decided to go into steel later. But Rockefeller made his money on oil. Andrew Carnegie made his money on steel. Okay? And J.P. Morgan made his money on electricity, manufacturing, railroads, and mining. All right? We already know what Henry Ford did, and Vanderbilt was in railroads. All right? Exactly, BW. They were tycoons. They were moguls. They were giant. Have you heard of Charles Schwab? You see their commercials. Now, he's in investment banking, but Charles Schwab was the partner of Andrew Carnegie. Now, John D. Rockefeller saw what Andrew Carnegie was doing, because Andrew Carnegie was a steel magnate, right? You couldn't get steel unless you went through Carnegie, and he was crushing all of the mom and pop and the competitors. He was crushing them, and they all began to set up monopolies. Pretty much, it was these three men and their monopolies. Now, I'm bringing this up because history is repeating itself in this time of the Donald Trump and his cohorts and what he tried to do with the Supreme Court justice. So work with me in another 5 more minutes, okay? Donald Trump tried to put in 3 Supreme Court justices so that they could help him get to places that he knew he couldn't get himself. And just in case the legislative branch got overturned because y'all went down and voted in a bunch of Democrats, he knew that the Supreme Court would have his back and then he can continue to serve for years to come. So he put those 3 in there, but those 3 turned on him. And this happened back in this time during these 3 men. In 1896, William Jennings Bryan ran for the presidency of the United States. Who was he? He was a Democrat. He was his thing was economy for all. He was a spokesman for the common man. He promised to dismantle the Titans companies, all of these men that I just mentioned. He wanted to break that stuff up. He was a prohibitionist. He was a Presbyterian. That's a whole nother story. Okay, he was an enemy of the gold standard, and he was an enemy of big business. William Jennings Bryan. 1896. Well, these 3 men, Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Morgan, was like, no, we cannot allow this man to win the presidency, and we've got to put a guy in there, all right, to help us so that they won't bust up what we have going on. Okay? The antitrust, okay, that became a rallying cry for William Jennings Bryan. So what happens? These 3 titans came together and they paid for a man to run. What was his name? William McKinley. William McKinley. Who was William McKinley? All right. Now, his campaign manager was an industrialist. All right. So these men began to pour a lot of money into the McKinley campaign, so to get him into the Oval Office to protect their interests. And what did they do? Each one of these men donated $200,000 apiece. Y'all like, that ain't nothing compared to what they're doing today. Oh, en contraire, $200,000 today is $20 million. You understand? So each one of these guys donated $20 million apiece for the William McKinley campaign. So McKinley then outspends William Jennings Bryan a factor of 5 to 1. And back in that time, you can buy the media. You can buy Fox News, or you can buy it. You still can buy Fox News. But back then, you could buy an MSNBC, a CNN type, an ABC type, okay, a CBS type, a Wall Street Journals, a Washington, okay. You can buy, back then, you can buy them, literally. buy them. And so they were buying them and they were putting the ads on the front pages that was against William Jennings Bryan. All right? William Jennings Bryan began to travel around the country. He gave several speeches, 500 speeches around. This is the beginning. He's the one that kicked off these presidents traveling from state to state to state to state. Well, that happened under this man. He started that travel thing, okay? Election night comes. It's Wall Street versus Main Street. Main Street is William Jennings Bryan and the common man. Wall Street, of course, is William McKinley and all of these titans who put all that money in there. The rich versus the poor. 90% of Americans go to the poor. 90% of Americans go, all right, on this election. Back then, voting was a public act, okay? So what was happening was they put the boxes right there out on the open, and it had McKinley's name on the outside box, and it had Bryan's name on the outside box, and poor people was going over to the Bryan box, and their bosses would be standing there to intimidate. If you voted for the wrong guy, you got fired suspiciously. So even though 90% of the poor people were going towards this man, when they went to the polls, they had to go and pivot. William McKinley wins the election. What happens? He rolls back the antitrust regulations, and all of these corporations, their profits skyrocket. Rockefeller, Standard Oil, skyrocket. Well, I don't think he created Standard Oil at that time. He hadn't gotten busted up yet. Okay, Carnegie, steel, skyrocketed. J.P. Morgan, electricity and manufacturing, skyrocketed. Why? Through this man, McKinley. He wins. Good to see it, Tawana, you're late. Fast forward. In walks a man by the name of Theodore Roosevelt. Yes, voter intimidation, Amber Rogers. Theodore Roosevelt, one of the great American presidents, at least on the books. Okay? He was a Spanish-American hero. He dressed kind of shabby, all right? He come from a wealthy family, but he dressed weird, and so he began to put effort and money into changing his profile, his image. So the pictures we see is not really him, okay? That's the him he created. He went off to war, and then he became the him in the eyes of the public that he was trying to create because of the Spanish-American War. All right? Then he became the governor of New York. This is Theodore Roosevelt. All right? He was not easily manipulated by these titans. He wanted to bust up these companies as well. And he targeted those monopolies. But they couldn't buy him. So what did they do? They convinced William McKinley to put Roosevelt in as the vice president when he was being reelected, when he was running again. Why? Because the job of the vice president during those days was nothing. If you became vice president, you disappeared. It was just a cushion. That's it. Look at the other Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He was president for so long. When President Roosevelt died in office after serving for 3-4 terms, who dropped the bomb? Truman. Truman was the vice president at the time. Truman didn't even know what the White House inside even looked like. That was the job of the vice president. It was like, okay, you're vice president, all right, you're just a designated survivor. That's all you were. And when Roosevelt died, Truman was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know nothing. They just didn't do it back then. Well, President Roosevelt was like that. they thought. So, what happened? He wins the election, McKinley. Theodore Roosevelt is now the vice president of the United States. The Titans got rid of Roosevelt. In walks Leon Czolgosz, I believe his name. All right. He worked for J.P. Morgan at U.S. Steel. He got laid off. He was disgruntled, and he decided to get revenge. And what did he do? He became an anarchist. And he found a way to get to McKinley, because back then you could just go walk up to the White House, ring the bell, and the president came to the door. Okay? And he assassinated William McKinley. McKinley became the third president in office to be assassinated. Guess what happened? If the Titans man die, the man who is against monopolies, the vice president in whom they put in there, he becomes the president. Y'all see where this story going? So now the Titans' worst enemy is now the president of the United States. What did he do? He immediately goes after J.P. Morgan and his railroad. He sues the corporation. It was the first time in American history to bust up a monopoly. And then Roosevelt is elected to a second term. And guess what? He goes after. Standard Oil was the last man standing. Standard Oil was the most hated company in America. So the government issues a subpoena to go after him, and he goes on a run. He flees. Rockefeller. He runs for his life. He's beginning to have his son have a baby, and now he's a grandson. So he goes back, turns himself in. They have a little thing, and then his company is busted up. All right. What is the moral to this story? You can't buy democracy. Donald Trump tried to buy democracy by putting in these justices to work on his behalf. What did he forget, or what did he not know? Number one, once you become a Supreme Court justice, that's a position for life. Your hands, the executive branch hands, is off of it. That's why the power is not given to the executive branch to put in a Supreme Court justice. You can only select, but the legislative branch must confirm. You understand? Once it's confirmed, she and he is in there for life. And we've never known in American history of a Supreme Court justice being removed, because they also can be impeached. But we've never seen that happen. As long as they're doing the job. Now they could overturn, they can make rulings, what have you. It could be as controversial as possible, but it's next to impossible to get rid of them. So once he put those three in the Supreme Court, they like, you can't touch us. We can do whatever we want to now. We can go against you, and you can't fire us. We're in there now. And they have to. And this is why I did that show about the God is, remember last year's show I did about the, not Supreme, but the justices. God's heart is towards the justices of America. Remember I said that y'all keep preaching about Moses, and Moses died, and then this is a Joshua's generation, blah, blah. No, none of that. No, this is God's returning us back to the judges. And the judges are making righteous rulings, because if they had ruled on behalf of Donald Trump, we would be in a bigger problem that would taint that holy seat of the Supreme Court. It would taint it for generations to come. And they knew they had to rule this way. Because if they allowed Texas to meddle in the other states, then we would have a real big problem. Because Illinois would start meddling in California's business. California would mess with Maine. And now we've got an implosion thing that's happening. So the Supreme Court is the glue that's keeping America together, because God is sitting there. No matter, I don't care who you agree with or who you don't agree with right now, God's got his eye on the Supreme Court, and it is there where he sits and he rules, whether you agree with it or not. So this is why I keep telling y'all, stop singing crazy songs that makes no sense. These are the days of Elijah. There's something that's turned into mess. Okay, now these are not the days of Elijah. Elijah's days gone in the Old Testament. The New Testament picks up in Revelation, and you'll see him return. And those days of Elijah will happen. I'll be in heaven. Y'all can be down here trying to figure out, are y'all going to buy or sell or put a mark on your forehead or your arm? Okay, not me. So if these are the days of Elijah, we screwed. Donald Trump's biggest problem in this instance was his lack of civil knowledge and the fact that he believed the hype. And with the evangelical church prophesying over him, prophet lying, yeah, he was the greatest in God's choice. It was, yeah, pretty bad. If Trump knew history, he would have known he can't buy righteous justice. He can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Listen, I think I've talked y'all's intellectual brains out. There's about 150 of y'all here, and I want to appreciate you sticking around this long. I knew I was going to go long tonight. My pandemic reports are usually about an hour and a half anyway, all right? And some of you have been giving to the Cash App. Thank you. I've been noticing. Thank you so much for your blessings. My grandbaby will be here any day now. Baby girl's belly is out like this now. She can't even get in the door. She had to get in the door this way, right? And I've been tearing down walls and putting up this and buying furniture and cleaning carpets and reconstruction this and that. It's killing me. It's killing me. Lord have mercy. It's killing me, all right? So when y'all give, it goes right to that baby. Both babies, that baby girl and the baby to come. And whatever I need to build in this house, all right? It's a lot of work. I hadn't had a baby in this house in 27 years. So the smell of doo-doo diapers and 3 a.m. feedings and crying and weeping and gnashing of teeth, it's going to be the sounds, the musical renditions in this house. And I will be down in my office with the door closed. I got a recliner that I bought so that I can stay down here. And now I need a portable refrigerator down here and a microwave down here, so that this will have to be the place I live until I can go upstairs and every now and then go upstairs and kiss my baby, both babies, and then come back down here and say, thank you, Lord. I can recline and go to bed. All right. Thank you, Angel. I appreciate you coming by here. Y'all are the greatest people in American history. All right, just know that. Pray for our nation. Pray for our president, the current one, because we only have one president at a time. So keep praying for the Donald Trump in his mind. Pray that the Lord save him. Pray for President-elect Biden, that the Lord speaks to his heart as well. The heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord, and so that God could help him rule and reign supreme, but righteously. All right. We know what the policy is. We know what the Democratic Party is all about. I'm not a Democrat. All right. I'm a conservative man, and some of the trolls on here think that I voted for Biden because I'm talking against Trump. One talk against one person, not a talk for the other guy. That's our That's how ill-informed y'all are. And that's these people who don't come over here to visit the show, you don't know that about me, which is sad, all right? So I want God to save these men, and I believe that the Lord is going to help us into 2021 through this COVID situation. Go to last week's show where I talked about the vaccines, all right? I know you African Americans are afraid to take it because you've been used as guinea pigs forever. I get that. I understand. You taking a lot of other stuff that you don't worry about guinea pig-ness, because when you're in pain, you take that medicine. You've been taking other types of vaccine-ish stuff, all right? Your doctor give you a shot and you don't even ask questions, all right? He gives you pills to take home, and sometimes the pills don't even, it just got the name on there and you never Google it. You just take it, all right? But you got caught up in the banter, in the talk, in the fog and the smoke of the vaccine talk, and then your mind went back to being a lab rat as an African American. I get your issue here. You have African American sisters here who are on here who are nurses, and they are in those hospitals, and they see the turmoil and the struggle and the non-beds. There are no available beds, no vacancy, no room in the inn because the beds are being taken up by COVID patients. All right. As a matter of fact, Dr. Fauci said there was an African American woman who was universal, who was responsible for which one is it, Pfizer or one of those vaccines becoming readily available today. All right, she played a very important part. It was an African American woman who did. Okay. All right, so use wisdom, will you please? And if you don't have the Holy Spirit, then you walking around in a circle. Okay, ask God. If you don't have the Spirit, ask God to fill you and give you wisdom on what to do with your body. Ask him to heal you. Meanwhile, if you trust the medical industry and science that much to do all these other things, then go live further. All right? Stop putting your trust in this stuff until something that you hear naysayers say. The uneducated are the ones who are getting you to stop doing stuff. It's amazing how we listen to Pookie more than we listen to science. That's why COVID hit us like it did, and it covered the world the way it did, especially America, because you had a president who downplayed it and called it a hoax, and 70 million people who voted for him were tethered to him, and they walking around here with no mask, and they having parties in the all right? The White House is having parties with no mask, all right? The same man who caught COVID, and many people in his administration caught it, and he's still playing with it, all right? He got to go because he's responsible for the death of so many people. He's got to get out of there. And except the Lord, January 20th, I don't know how many more people are going to die because of the man you put in there, all right? It's sad, and we need help. Okay. Go to my show last week, and I talked about the big push. I would want a big push if COVID is the number one killer in America. Why wouldn't they be pushing it? Are you afraid of the push? You drowning. Push the boat. There is a rescue boat coming. Don't be doing no cruise on the way to that little spot there. Push that boat to me. Everybody on this ship is about to die. There's a hole in the ship and it's sinking. Push it. COVID has now topped heart disease and cancer. Is that your fear? Didn't you not pray for a quick healing from God? And he sent one, and now you reject it? Michelle says, my neighbor injured her foot yesterday and couldn't get in the room. I often worried about my own daughter, who's getting ready to drop this baby. God, please clear the way so she can get up in that hospital. And I know they have whole floors or pregnancy wards or whatever they call that. All right, because if it wasn't for that, I don't know if my daughter may have to say push. Push, baby girl, push. She may be having that baby here. I don't know. That's fine. You don't have to believe their statistics. But let me tell you something. The problem with belief is belief. Sometimes I believe I'm a Superman. And I get up and I start moving furniture around, heavy furniture. I believe that I can move it. And my back went out. How much strength you putting in your belief? And I don't go into institutions in whom I'm not been trained in and say, I don't believe your stuff. When these men and women have given their lives to science, and all I got is an accounting degree. Yeah. So keep taking your medicine. Your vitamins like me. I got vitamins that I take every day. I take vitamins all day. All right. But there are many people who were very healthy, and COVID came and killed them. Yeah. They have turned car garages into COVID units in Nevada. Tawana says the statistics is real. If you don't do nothing and lay on your back, you will be a statistic. If that wasn't the last word, I don't know what was. I gotta go. I love y'all. Listen, go ahead, and if you're on YouTube, smash the like button, turn it blue. Okay? I love y'all. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Pray for me as I pray for you. I went a little long, but I got a little motor in my mouth. I see y'all. Well, I got to preach tomorrow online here at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time for about 20 minutes for the evangelistic department, Church of God in Christ. What's the topic? I don't know. Can y'all send me something in the inbox? I don't know. Something relevant, all right? Something that will inspire the people? Something? Because I don't know. Yeah. And then Wednesday, Bible study. If y'all want to be a part of the Bible study, go in my inbox, because my brother and I will be teaching 1 hour on the book of John. 1 hour. The book of John. All 21 chapters. All right? You want to be a part of that? It's a private link, so you'd have to inbox me. You could, why don't you just send me an email? giftedfriends1 at Gmail. Can somebody put that in there so I can put it on a Jumbotron? giftedfriends, the number 1 at Gmail. Send me a request for a link. I'll give your name to the administrator, and they'll let you in the Zoom call, and we could do. I'm gonna do a 1 hour study on the book of John. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. All right. Gotta go. Yeah, I'm waiting for somebody to put my email in there so I can put it on the Jumbotron. There it is. Thank you at the end. There you go. giftedfriends1 at Gmail. Yeah, there it is. All right. 7 o'clock. You should know better. Respect my decision to have a different opinion. I respect this off button. Bye-bye.
Well, goodbye. 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 Enjoy yourself. Goodbye. 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 Well, goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sir Walter Jones to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy today.